Let's run.
Plug the sound in.
Plug the sound in.
Okay.
Check. Make sure we're good.
There we are. Check the sound. I got sound. I'm good. All right. Welcome everybody to T350 show. Hi James. We're busily getting ready to head to Vegas and hoping that yeah, clean shaved. I got new glasses, so I went for the new look. I hadn't shaved my beard off in I don't know how many years. It's not going to last long. I don't like not having a beard. But so hi George. So we're getting ready to head to Vegas and hoping that I see daily how many flights are being canceled. Our flights have already been rearranged a couple times, and hoping we get there. I leave Sunday. Their other guys leave Saturday because they're playing in the golf tournament on Sunday out at the SHOT Show. I don't golf. I shoot. You know, they can hit a golf ball 300 yards. I can hit a golf ball at 300 yards. For me, a golf course is a waste of a perfectly good gun range. So, but they're going to go out there and do a little golfing, and then I'm going to fly out Sunday, and we're going to be up at the SHOT Show Monday and Tuesday at the supplier showcase, and then Tuesday through Friday we're going to be on the main floor, actually down in the basement of the main show, exhibiting there. So AR-15 golf upper design. So if you happen to be making your way out to the SHOT Show, stop and see us. It's cold here, right? I don't know where you're at in the United States, but it's cold here. Yeah, I'm going to play a little slots. Andy will probably hit the blackjack table a little bit, and yeah, I don't know if Rick's really into gambling. But yeah, I'll play some slots and lose a little money. Right? Vegas wasn't built on the backs of winners. All those lights and all them big buildings don't run off of people walking out of there with lots of money. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're getting ready to do next week. So we will not have a show next week. We'll post some canned videos that we're going to do while we're there setting up, and maybe if we get to meet some cool people and do some little interviews or whatever, you know, take some pictures. We'll be passing some stuff along and gathering some swag for a good SHOT Show swag giveaway when we get back. So we always walk out of there with lots of swag, hats, and just, you know, it's so much stuff. Every booth you walk by, people are handing you stuff. So we're going to have some fun, hopefully gain some new customers, and see some really cool stuff. We haven't seen anything for a couple of years, so I'm sure some people have some cool stuff saved up to premiere. So today we are going to talk about an adjustable gas system so you can adjust your shots. Okay. For a golf upper. We were talking about how you guys were going golfing, and I don't golf, I shoot. And yeah, just bring home a big bag of money, right? Yeah, we got a cruise to pay for. A couple weeks after I get home from Vegas, hopefully, who knows what's going to happen, but we're off to the Bahamas for a week. So we're hoping that all goes down. Who knows? The whole world's kind of topsy-turvy right now. We were talking about how the flights are all, hoping we don't get canceled or delayed. But so why we're here today, we're taking a look at what is known as the mil-spec AR, or the clamshell upper, or the A2 upper. It has a ton of different names, but this is the basic AR configuration, not necessarily this back here. This stock has already been upgraded, and the pistol grip's been upgraded. So this isn't typically, this is not definitely not a mil-spec AR pistol, and this is a pistol. So we're going to look at what it takes. You know, we go to shows and guys come up to us all the time and, you know, I bought this from PSA. It's got these plastic clamshells on it. I can't put anything on it. I can't put a light on it. I can't put a laser on it. I can't do nothing with it. I want to get a regular handguard and put a handguard on it so I can attach some stuff. How do I do that? And you start to tell them how that's all got to happen. And, you know, it starts to seem like a lot of work. And they're like, I don't know if I want to get into that. It's not a lot of work. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. It might take you 20 or 30 minutes your first time going through it, but it's really not that hard, and we're going to show you how to do that. So the first thing you want to do here, obviously, is clear your weapon. Make sure you're being safe, and then we're going to break this thing in half. Well, no, not yet. We're not going to break it in half yet. Never mind that. We're going to remove these plastic clamshells. Now, I have a handguard removal tool. You don't necessarily have to have one of these. If you got some good, strong fingers, you can pull down on this thing, right, and pop these out of there. If you don't have strong fingers, you know, this thing locks right in there just like this. You give it a little squeeze, you pull down on this, and you pop these clamshells right out of there. Okay? So that's the only time we're going to use that. But again, if you got strong fingers, it's not a necessity. Okay, now that we got that off, and you got to have the two halves together if you're using this tool, because the tool locks into the mag well. Set that down right there. Okay. I'm going to get the unnecessary parts out of the way that I don't need in my way. And I got to take this rear sight off. Because I got to put it in a vise block. Okay, there you go. Stage one is done. Now, we got to get the muzzle device off. We're going to put it in our vise block. And we are going to take our armorer's wrench. Take that muzzle device off. This is just an A2 flash hider, bird cage, has a million names. And for you can reuse this, obviously, if you want to put it back on. You're going to need a new crush washer if you do that. Crush washers are only good one time once they're crushed. You know, you're not going to put much tension back on that device putting it back on, so you're going to need a new crush washer to put that tension back into the system. So all right, now we've got that off. Now we will come back in the vise here in a minute, but you'll see there's two pins, right? This front post right here, this is probably one of the hardest things to do on this, is to get this post off of here. There's a pin here that holds the gas tube in place, and there's two pins right here that hold this front sight block on. Now this front sight block is also your gas block. So a lot of guys, you know, you'll see some guys, they'll just chop this thing right off right here and grind it all down, spray paint it black, and they'll leave it. But I like to take them off. So I suggest that you have a vise block, any kind of whatever style you prefer. I have both here, and I like this one from Brownells because it tells me pins in, pins out. I know which side I'm using, and when I'm taking the pins out. So we lay the whole thing in here. Now using our table. What's that? Yeah, I have seen it. I've never seen anybody do it, but I've seen the aftermath of somebody taking a grinder and cutting the top of the A2 off and grinding it down. I know Russ posted a picture just a day or two ago that of one he had done on the post about this on BYOAR. So first thing we're going to do is pop that little gas tube roll pin out. Let me get that out of my way. And this block is designed so that as the pins, they just fall straight through, and now it's up underneath the block here. There's a hole cut in the block for the pin to drive straight through. Okay? Now, these pins only go out one way. They are tapered pins, and that's why the thing says pins in, pins out. You're going to want a nice, chunky, hardened steel, flat punch that has some beef to it, because you've got to knock these things pretty hard. So over the years, I've gotten some dimples in here, so they kind of sit right on top of there nice. And you get this thing down there and smack it. There's one. There's the other. Broke them free. Now we'll use the regular punch to send them out. Not quite broke free. There went a clamshell. As my wife would say, man down. So usually, when I've done this in the past, I've done this. I didn't do that this time because if I ran into problems, I wanted you to actually see the problems and how I get around them. There we go. Okay. Now we're in business. There we go. The pins are out. Those are our tapered pins. We're not going to use those again. We are going to set our gas tube roll pin off to the side because we are going to reuse that. Just like at home, smack it until it works, right? That's good advice, honey. She told me the other night the dishwasher was making some weird grinding noise. So I went over there and I grabbed it and I shook the dishwasher a couple times and it quit. And I was like, I fixed it. It hasn't made any noise since.
Still doing the dishes.
It's still doing the dishes. Oh, yeah. I've had to drill a few of them out, too. Some of them, this is a new upper, so it's fairly easy. After this thing's been shot a few hundred times and heated and cooled over the years. No, I didn't. Brian. I said I shook the dishwasher, and he's like, you shook your wife? Oh, my goodness. So after a few heating cycles, hot, cold, them things can really get in there, and they'll be a booger to take off. So once we have Now we slowly work. Well, that one's on there pretty good. Usually they just slide right off. Okay. Need a little persuasion. Okay, we'll pull the delta ring off, pull the gas block out, and there you go. And it's got a little never sees on it. Yeah, sometimes you might have to put a little heat to it. Okay. Now, the next thing that has to happen is this mil-spec barrel nut has to come off. If that wasn't the hardest thing to do, getting that front sight post off, this could be the hardest thing to do, especially if this thing's been through heating and cooling cycles. That barrel nut is on there. So this one, being relatively new, may come loose. And I don't hope it does. I don't have my monkey wrench here. Uh-oh. Somebody got my monkey wrench. Uh-oh. I should have checked for my monkey wrench before I got started on this. That one's on there. Not gonna come. All right. Well, let's see if shocking it will do. This is why I usually took them apart pre-show to make sure that we weren't going to run into problems. Let me give it a shock. Oh, there went Andy's water. Now, it doesn't want to break. Ha-ha! There we go. Got it. The BFH worked. Okay. And we actually didn't destroy that barrel nut, so that barrel nut is reusable again. All right. The hard part is over. The hard, noisy part. Okay. Yeah, we got a little water on the floor. You want this rag there? Okay. So now we've decided what we're going to do here and what system we're going to go with. We're going to put a muzzle device. This is basically our A2 upgrade kit that Well, you know where to go. I can't say too much, but you know where to go. So we're going to put a muzzle device on this. We're going to put a 10-inch handguard on there. And we're going to put this low-profile gas block on there. So first thing we're going to do is to make sure I don't have to go through that again, because there's not a drop of anything on that barrel nut. I'm going to put just and a little bit of this stuff goes a long way. Okay. Now we'll take our torque wrench. Now usually if this was a brand new upper and I hadn't already had something on it, I'd do the torque, untorque, retorque method. But since these threads have already obviously been stretched, we really don't need to do that. So we're going to just torque this thing to our 45, 50 foot-pounds of torque. Okay. Now we're going to take our gas block. Lining everything up so you can see the hole through there. Find a place to set up here. Yeah, might be. It was pretty tight. They don't really need to be that tight. Some companies, when they assemble their uppers, seem to think that they need to be Superman. It should be the one. Doesn't want to fit in there. Okay. This can also be a little bit of a bugger sometimes. Just getting it started. Wrong one again. Okay. This usually doesn't give me this much trouble. Yeah. Someone has COVID. They heard you coughing. Doggone it. All right. I'm getting a little antsy now. No. I'm having a little trouble keeping it. Okay, I'm going to do a little cheat. I'm going to smash the pin just a little bit. To get it started. Well, this is why I wanted to do it this way, so that you could see the actual difficulties you may run into and how a 10-minute job can turn into a 20-minute job. All right. I usually have better luck with this. There we go. I got it started. No, I had it started. And I knocked it back out. Wow.
You made it long enough for Caleb to get on.
It would be laying in the driveway by now, right? Okay, we got her started, and now we're going to press it the rest of the way. There we go. We check it for gas flow, we're good to go. That was a little bit of a adventure.
Yeah, it's a little bugger.
Didn't want to start. Okay. Now we're going to reinstall, not reinstall, we're going to install this gas block. Well, this diameter is snug. That's why that sight block didn't want to come off of there. I don't want to damage the threads on my barrel by smacking them with a hammer. So if you got a little piece of plastic like this or a piece of wood, there we go. Now this is a pinned gas block, so we need to make sure that our alignment is right. That looks fairly decent. Yep, we got flow. We're good to go. So now I'm going to take the Allen wrench for the gas block and tighten it in place. Now once you know you've got it in place by shooting this thing and it's cycling properly, you can take the handguard back off and take these screws out one at a time, put a little drop of Loctite, blue Loctite on them, and then put them back in one at a time. That way you don't lose your alignment by taking both screws out at the same time. And then that's going to stay in place for you. But you don't want to Loctite it until you know that it's in the proper position and that you've got good gas flow. All right. We're going to take our new crush washer. So you could do all kinds of things from here. You can put the flash hider back on if you so desire. If you don't have a muzzle device you're changing out, you can go to a muzzle brake. This thing is going to be wicked loud with a muzzle brake. It's just a pistol with a muzzle brake. You could do something as cool as putting one of these fake barrel shroud suppressor type of gizmos on here, and then sliding a 13-inch handguard on there, you know, and just that little bit sticks out. That's really cool looking. I mean, that's really cool looking. But for the purposes of what we're doing here and showing you our A2 upgrade systems, we're going to stick with the parts that you get with that. We don't have it set up that way. This is set up so that you get muzzle brake. We probably could set it up that way that you could choose. So, you know, I noticed that I'm going to need one full turn out of this, and I usually don't like to try to do a full turn. So I'm going to try one of these other pre-crushed crush washers and see if they don't get me so that I only got to go half a turn or less with it. There we go. Perfect. And you're going to want to just work it a little at a time until it's level. Okay. And we're going to slide our handguard on. This is the 10-inch Cornerstone handguard. Line it up. Tighten it down. So I always start, when I'm tightening the handguard here, I start at the front screw. Because if you start at the back screw and go forward, and then you tighten the front one, then your back screws are loose. So about a quarter of a turn past snug is going to get you into that 32 inch-pounds that we recommend. You don't want to smash this thing down all the way. I'll show you that in a second. I'm having dexterity problems today.
Your show quota. We get so many minutes and then
Yeah. Okay. And then when you're done, you should still be able to see about the thickness of a dime slit in there. And that handguard is locked on there good and tight. Okay. And put our charging handle back in. Put our Bolt Carrier Group back in. Attach it back to our lower. And there you have it. A little longer than about 20 minutes, right?
Yep.
About 20 minutes. Yeah, this thing is going to bark. It's going to be loud. A pistol with a muzzle brake is not very friendly to the guys next to you at the range. So, real quick, while we're looking at pistols here, and you're talking about building and upgrading a pistol, there's a few things you got to know about pistols, and one of them is obviously that you can't use a standard buttstock, you have to use a brace. This is the Odin Works close CQB, close quarter battle brace, close quarter brace. And there are length requirements for a pistol. So there's length of pull and there's overall length. And length of pull is measured from the what would be the flat. This is a flat trigger, so it's measured from the face of the trigger. But if it's a curved trigger, it's measured in what would be the plane of the curve of the trigger. Okay, and you can't be more than 13.5 inches from the trigger to the rear of the brace fully extended. Okay, so right here is 13.5. So I'm a good 1.5 inches short. Okay, and that's with the brace fully extended. You can see there's 13.5 where my thumb is. Okay, so I'm well within the requirements. The other requirement is the overall length. Can't be greater than 26 inches with the brace fully collapsed or folded to the front of the barrel, non-muzzle device. If there was no muzzle device on here. So there's about a 1/2 inch beyond the handguard when you actually, of barrel. And right here where my thumb is 26 inches. So even with the muzzle device, I'm still only at 25.5. So even with the muzzle device, I'm still good. I'm still perfectly legal with this as a pistol. Okay. Yeah. And that's it. That's how easy it is to go from these. That other clamshell hit the floor earlier. Right? How easy it is to go from this thing, right, which is totally functional, but, not a whole lot of fun. You can't put a grip on here. Oh, no vertical foregrips on a pistol. Angled grips only. Angled foregrips, micro hand stop, that kind of stuff. You can't have a straight down grip on a pistol. If you have greater than 13 inches and you have a barrel longer than 12.5, you can add a foregrip. This converts into an any other weapon. The rules behind pistols and rifles and any other weapons is kind of confusing. If if you're that into it, pay the $250 and get yourself a SBR. Then you can do whatever you want with it. What is the overall length for a pistol? So a pistol is defined as any barrel under 16 inches. Even 14.5 inches is considered a pistol unless you pin and weld the muzzle device. If you pin and weld an 1.5 inch muzzle device on there, now it's 16 inches permanent, and that's considered a rifle. But anything under 16 inches is considered a pistol. And then you have to look also, again, at your length of pull and overall length requirement, making sure that as you build this thing, you're not violating one of those two rules. So. Yeah. 14.5 inch upper with a pinned and welded upper would... Yeah, I'm not sure what he was trying to say. Other weapon is different. Any other weapon is different from other weapon, right? Okay, I'm reading back through the questions to make sure I got everybody's. Yeah, pin the faux suppressor, pin this on there, and now you've got a rifle. Right? Okay. I didn't see anything about a gas block. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, again, a little bit of work, not too bad. Making sure you have the right tools. You're going to need some punches. You're going to need a bench block. You're going to need a vise block or a spline tool. You're going to need a bench vise, an armorer's wrench, and a torque wrench. And if you invest $150, $200 in these tools, it's not a sunk cost that you're going to use these things one time, use those tools one time, and they're going to go in the drawer and you're never going to use them again. As you upgrade and maintain this thing, you are going to use those tools over and over again. I'm going to put my sights back on here real quick because this thing had the rear sight on it and it had the front sight post. So now I got to add a secondary front sight. Otherwise, I won't be able to aim. Okay. And there we go. And that's how easy it is to take your pistol from the basic to a nice little badass looking thing. Right. 15, 20 minutes, some basic tools, and not a whole lot of money in, the upgrade parts. I can't tell you anything other than that. But watch for posts on BYOAR and on the architect group telling you more about that. Got to stay away from certain keywords or I'll get zucked. Is that the one you had at the range when I don't no this isn't yeah, we haven't shot this one yet. This was a brand new upper that I bought just to do this demo. So next time we go to the range, George, I'll bring this out and we'll rock and roll it. We joined the sportsman's club out by the campground, and they got it's a bar, restaurant, and range. They got a shooting range, 25, 50, and 100-yard ranges. They got an archery range over here. It's like a man's sportsman's heaven. No drink until after we get off the range, though. I don't drink anyway, so. Where you get an ABT license. I'm not sure what an ABT license is. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, SBR. Okay. You got to apply to the ATF if you fill out their form. I'm not sure which form is the SBR form. If it's Form 4, just like with a suppressor. I haven't done an SBR. I've only done a suppressor, and I'm still waiting on that thing. It's been 9 months. I'm getting itchy. So, you fill out the form, you mail in the check for $250, and then you wait. Apparently they've done a bunch of stuff recently with the ATF, the online application stuff, and they're talking about wait times being down under a couple months to get approvals now. Once they get through the backlog of stuff that's in there, so it would certainly make it a lot easier and a lot more friendly for people to want to do that. And if you don't have to wait a year, if you can get okayed in a couple of months and get your stuff back, I think it would make a lot more people want to do it. It's always been one of the big barriers to entry, was that wait time. Nobody wants to pay $1,000 for a suppressor and a stamp and then wait a year before you can play with it. So, oh, excuse me, I got the COVID.
All right.
Okay, so that's it for today's show. Appreciate everybody joining me. Again, we won't see you next week. We'll send some pictures and some pre-recorded videos from Las Vegas. And we'll be back here in 2 weeks to wrap up what we did in Vegas and give away some swag. So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And remember, you don't have to be an expert to build your own AR, upgrade it, or maintain it. We're here to help you do that. We'll see you.